This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Goonies Minute, everybody. Goonies Minute is the fan podcast where we carefully explore the movie Goonies minute by minute. I'm Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we're here to bring you minute number 85 today. And we are joined again by Scott of Pirates of the Caribbean Minute, and finally with his co-host Heather, who we've been waiting for a few days now to get on. Heather, it is good to have you with us.
Oh, it's great to be on.
Definitely. And Scott, welcome back, man. I'm glad you're able to make it back this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to settle in, and I just may hang out the rest of the time for you guys.
I think so. I calculated it the other day. We've got, I think, a little bit less than a month left for Goonies Minute. So
wow.
Yeah, you can just go ahead and set up a cot there in the corner, you know.
As long as I get some bread and water every once in a while, and I'm good.
Yeah, some bread and water. I think we can handle that.
Perfect.
And we're also going to be doing our Patreon episode coming up sometime soon, where we're going to be talking about all things Pirates of the Caribbean, from the ride to the movies to the Lonely Island Michael Bolton collaboration. But yeah, I tell you what, Heather, since we've been talking to Scott so much lately about all this, tell me, why Pirates of the Caribbean? Why did you guys settle on that?
Well, we went to go try Goonies Minute, but that was taken.
Aha.
That's funny.
And then we went to go for Jurassic Park Minute, but that was also taken.
It's
Yeah.
those Pele guys. They just were getting that. Yeah, exactly. It was Ghostbusters. We're like, what in the heck is going on here? These Pele guys are just taking all our thunder. So we had to settle for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Settle. Well, no, I think you guys definitely got one of the better franchises in recent history. I think Pirates of the Caribbean, those films have held up so well in the 15 years that they've been around, or 16 years? I can't quite remember exactly how long they've...
Yeah, 2003, so yeah, approaching 14 years now.
God.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
incredible.
crazy. And
Yeah,
what's
and
funny is there's a whole kind of pirate culture that's out there, or with pirate festivals, and so, we are getting a lot of people who are really knowledgeable in pirate themes and pirate history, and so they can definitely correct us when we... make those mistakes every once in a while. It's very rare that I make a mistake, but it does happen.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about doing something that's kind of historically based is I love getting feedback like that, because pirates are just fascinating. Pirates, even modern day pirates, are terrifying and fascinating. And so anytime I can hear somebody give me like a little piece of lore or history or trivia or anything, I'm all ears. Pirates are just something that fascinates everybody, I think.
Yeah.
And the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the rides, is just such a great way for people to discover that world, the world of pirates. And I think anybody who's ever been on the ride in Disneyland or Disney World remembers that experience going way back when. I think it's so cool that they're putting you in the world of pirates from... literally being a participant in it, because you're able to just kind of sail right through all the show scenes in the ride and see how life, according to Walt Disney, might have been like in that world,
Exactly. I think one time we talked about on one of our episodes how they really need to extend that ride to make it more like, instead of a 15-minute deal, like a half hour or even an hour. It's like the slow boat one. And
it's never been long enough as far
That's
as I'm
right.
concerned.
Yeah.
That's the only thing discouraging about it for me. I always wanted it to be longer.
Have you guys been to let's see, y'all are in California. Have y'all been to the one in Disney World?
No, we haven't, and that's something definitely on our list now to do. And we
Wonder
actually,
how different
after
it
your
is.
recommendation on the Patreon, we went and viewed even that one. I think it was was it Tokyo or Hong Kong?
Oh, yeah, I think Shanghai.
Yeah, and man, that one just was, like you said, blew me away with all the video screens and it's crazy.
It's insane. And I hear the one in Disneyland, the original's like double the amount of, maybe not the amount of time, but the amount of stuff to take in than the one in Disney World. So,
interesting.
really?
It's crazy. I know, and I've actually got some interesting trivia on how that original Pirates of the Caribbean attraction found its way into the Goonies, literally into it. So, with that said, y'all want to get into the minute?
Let's do it.
Let's get into the minute.
Sounds
Thank you,
great.
Chris. Awesome. In the previous minute, the Goonies had finally discovered One-Eyed Willie's ship, the Inferno. They made their way on board and slowly explored the deck of the ship. At minute 85, they continue to take in every detail of the ship in all its majesty. Andy and Mikey make their way over to the helm of the ship. Andy spots a skeleton, and Mikey tells her that there's nothing to be scared of. He turns the skeleton around. The skeleton's head slumps back and reveals that it has daggers in both of its eyes. Mikey recoils in disgust. While admiring the ship, Data steps over a grate in the floor. The grate gives way under him, and he falls into the room below. He tries to reassure himself that he's okay, but quickly panics when he sees that he is surrounded by skeletons. The rest of the Goonies rush over to make sure he is okay. Data begins to rant about how tired he is of falling, and Brand asks him why he didn't just use the stairs. And thus ends minute 85 of the Goonies. Okay, so this is some of the most impressive set design I have ever seen. And I'm not just talking about the pirate ship. I'm talking about the entire cave that it's in. And I don't know exactly which soundstage this was shot in, at what studio, but you know, it's just it's almost this set piece is just too big for you to take in visually, and just to I don't know. It's just bigger than any set piece I've ever seen in a movie, and so much detail. You know, it's incredible. Do you, Heather, remember your first impressions of the Goonies whenever you first saw it?
I actually seen it on VHS, not in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was just an amazing movie. It's an amazing adventure movie. Now
Yeah.
I go for, the love stuff, but there's not much in this movie. But it was an amazing adventure movie.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the best adventure movies that comes to my mind, you know.
Yeah.
You're talking about the romance, Heather. Now,
Yes.
you look at Mikey, his little crush on Andy, and there's another little spot here right at the beginning of this minute. And Andy says to Mikey, "Do you really think there's a treasure here?" She's always speaking so dreamy. And at that point, now Mikey says this whole ship is a treasure, but it really looks like at that point he wants to either hug or kiss her. Now, I don't think it's intentional, but I mean, it's something about it. Man, because they're by themselves again right there at that point. And I'm telling you, the more and more I watch this and we break it down, the more and more you'll see that little infatuation there. And you'll see next minute, Andy's got a little nonverbal communication towards Mikey also. But I thought that was really interesting, that little point. But Mikey saying, and it's true, the whole ship is a treasure.
Oh, yeah.
So now I got to ask then, is that Mikey the character in that, or is that Sean Astin's love for Andy coming out when he's acting?
That's a very interesting point there, because I don't think this little thing that I noticed, I don't think it was actually even put in by the directors, but something about it, and I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead, I have to. Next minute, you're going to see there's something about the way she touches him, and that way she keeps the hand on him a little bit longer, to where there's an affection there that you won't necessarily see. That's hard to. It's very believable, and it's very. I'm not going to say it's inappropriate, but it's more than what you would think from someone that is just a kid and a girl that's 4 or 5 years older. It looked like there's true affection there. But we'll talk more about it next minute. But there could be something about it with Sean Astin.
Yeah, you never know, man.
It's always possible. These people are spending months with each other.
That's right.
You know, here he is, that he was in a movie and he got to kiss a girl that's, 4 or 5 years older than him.
And Cary Green is a baby.
Yeah,
I mean, I
that's
had a
gotta
crush
be-
on her first time I saw this movie.
Yeah. Let's get something real quick that's a little bit more gruesome. The realism of these skeletons. The first skeleton you see on this boat, I mean, with the 2 knives in the eyes, that is pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it's very gruesome, and it's right up there in your face whenever it happens. I've got a question, and I know that the movie's kind of already touched on this. So if One-Eyed Willie killed all his men, and I guess one of them made it out with the map, how the hell does one guy pull that off? I mean, that's some skill right there.
Well, I'll tell you how they pull it off is, he might have had 4 people in on the story.
Mm-hmm.
then 3 people are in on that story, and then 2 people are in on that story, and then there's only one person in on that story, and then he kills the last one.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? Because
that's how I would do
I thought
it.
about the same thing. All right, The Dark Knight.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you bet.
How in the beginning he tells everybody, like, hey, look, if you bump this guy off, it'll be more shares for all of us. And then eventually they all kill each other, leaving him the only guy. That's the only thing I can think might have made sense. Or he got them all drunk and went around and just killed them.
No, I think it was planned. This guy, if you look at how elaborate some of this
cunning
stuff is, he knew what he was doing probably from the beginning. All right, now back to those skeletons. The second thing that you see after that skeleton reveal, he almost looks like a mummified type body where the mouth and the face has been ripped. It's not even bones. It's like, and they're dressed like a shipmate. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Any of you?
No, go.
Right after, it's just like, I don't know if it's a woman or not, but it's like dressed as a shipmate, and it's like the whole part of the mouth is missing of this skeleton. It's really freaky looking. It's not even a skeleton, it's a body. It looks like a mummified body.
Wow.
Oh, interesting. I'm going to have to go back and check that
Yeah,
out.
take a look at it real quick, or whenever you get a chance to look at it again. It's pretty cool.
You know, here's something. Mikey says, "Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. It's just a skeleton," and grabs it and just flips it over. I would think if anybody would not be okay with like disturbing the dead or tampering with this scene or even talking this casually about these people, it would be Mikey. I think he would have the utmost respect for where he is and who these people are. I mean, he's about to rob One-Eyed Willie.
Well, and he does. Eventually, he does have that respect when it comes to Willie's treasure.
Yeah.
But I guess he's not thinking this is Willie yet.
Is that initial excitement of just being on there? He's forgetting that reverence that he has for One-Eyed Willie, and
It's a
he's
possibility.
just going for it.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, he's, like we said, what, 12? Somewhere in that
12,
age range.
13.
I don't even know if right now I could say get in there and not touch that thing and try and turn it over. And I'd probably even take one of those daggers out of the eyes and just slip it in my bag.
Take a skeleton with you. That'd be cool.
It's so funny because, like we've said countless times, anytime Data is on screen, it is all eyes on Data. And he gets his own music.
Right.
Everything stops for whatever Data has going on. Whether it's unveiling one of his inventions that he has somehow, compiled into that one outfit, or if it's him just going on a rant. And this is definitely a moment where it's just like, okay, we're just going to let him just improvise. Just put the camera on him and just let him complain about something and scream about something. And I think it's in the next minute, actually, whenever he's going on about it and they're coming down the stairs, Mikey looks back up and he's like, yeah, he's all right. He's down here. He's just complaining. But yeah, so Heather, tell me a little. Well, go ahead, Scott.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of Data anyways. Just by the fact that he even refers to himself in the third person when he's talking. Yeah. And it just reminds me of Seinfeld. There's that episode, I think it's with the Jimmies or whatever it was called, but Jimmy's going to get the guy. And then George Costanza starts picking it up, and he's, like, George is getting upset. So
yeah,
that's, I think, like the inspiration. Maybe Data inspired Seinfeld, the biggest sitcom ever because of that.
Wasn't there one where a guy is flirting with Elaine in a gym? And
that's the one. That's the Jimmy.
Yeah,
that's exactly
Jimmy
it.
Jimmy likes you. That's hilarious. And I mean, he was fresh off of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and this is just like one of those cases with Carrie Green, who plays Andy. I'm so surprised that we never really saw more of them.
I agree.
She seemed like she was just primed to be a sitcom actress or something. Had so much going on, and Data, the actor, just has so much talent. I mean, he's hilarious. He's believable. Everything like we're saying, it's just all eyes on him. So after these two hit movies within about a year span of each other, he just kind of disappears. And, you'll see him in interviews and stuff as of the last couple of years and talking about the Goonies or Indiana Jones. And it's very funny. It's very interesting. But I don't know, man. You never really saw Corey Feldman kind of had some time in the sun, and then and then of course Josh Brolin is like, kind of disappeared for several years, and now he just came out swinging a few years ago.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, with what was it? No Country for Old Men.
Mm-hmm.
the Grindhouse movie, and something else.
He was in W.
He was in W. He was in
He did a
Milk.
pretty good job in that.
Yeah, so hell of an actor. But and actually, just coming off of Jurassic Park a minute, I found out that he was going to play Chris Pratt's character in Jurassic World. Until
no kidding.
Yeah, until pretty far along into making the movie, and then they had to recast like pretty late in the game.
Actually, you were talking in the beginning about the whole set here, and if there was ever a movie that was for IMAX, I'd like to see Goonies on an IMAX screen, just so I could take in that whole cave shot, the ship, and maybe you could really pull out some cool details that are on that pirate ship.
Absolutely. That's I don't know if you could just play a movie from like any old source in IMAX format.
You have to remaster that or something. I don't even know what would be involved with that. That's interesting.
Don't know.
This goes back into what we were talking about with the Star Wars movies of whether what we were talking about not to redo the Indiana Jones movies.
Indiana Jones,
They were saying don't do them.
Yeah, don't like touch them up with new special effects and everything. But I can totally see a IMAX re-release. And I mean, I know that in some cases
I would watch that.
Hell yeah, you can rent out a theater. In some cases, you can rent out a theater and just have a movie showing for like your birthday or something. I wonder if there's an IMAX theater somewhere around that would let you, if you paid enough money, rent it out and just watch whatever movie. Because if so,
cool.
I'm about to dive into my savings just so I can see the movie one time. We're going to have a big meetup, Movies by Minutes meetup, where everybody comes and watches.
I like it. Good idea.
There's two other things that I thought were interesting, is that in this particular minute, Data is the only one that we see really asking himself or talking to himself about the gold. It's like he's the one who's focused on the gold at this point. Everybody else is concerned about checking out this cool pirate ship, and the ship is the treasure, but Data's like, the gold, where's the gold kind of deal.
Yeah.
He's like, the gold, I got to find the gold. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they've been through so much at this point in time. There better be some type of treasure other than just what they're seeing.
You know what I would hate to have happen is when Geraldo discovered Al Capone's safe.
Yes.
And he's like, I swear there's something there. They open it on live television, and there's nothing in there. And he's like, well, we're still going to keep going because we know there's maybe something nearby. Oh, my God. I'm pretty sure I've referenced it before in the show, probably. Maybe even the last episode. Who knows? But the movie UHF with Weird Al Yankovic.
You've talked about it in the movie.
I have talked about this before, where he opens up Al Capone's glove compartment in his car and finds road maps. And it's about as funny as the way I just told it. So, on that note,
we could circle back to the daggers in the eyes of that pirate.
Yeah, sure.
So the music, actually, I was expecting the music to give you more of a punch when it turned around, but it didn't quite hit that top note. So was it kind of like a mild shock moment? What were they really trying to get you with that? That was my one question for the minute.
I think a jump scare might have been a little cheap. I don't know. It's all very macabre on the ship, and it's probably a little bit more. The idea is of someone who has just murdered, like, God, 60, 70 people is kind of like intense enough on its own, just that idea.
Yeah.
And so to pull a moment like that would just kind of be a little overkill,
cheapen it.
Maybe. Yeah. In so many words.
So I have to confess, I didn't know they were actual daggers in his eyes. I thought it was like his eyes poking out like that until just today.
Really? That's interesting. I've never looked at it like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't let her out of the closet very often. I keep her in the dungeon. It's like, hey.
Oh, man. Hey, you know what, though? It's a kid's movie. It's got some comedic elements to it. You never know.
Yep.
I guess.
It's okay. You don't have to be nice to her.
All right. Well, I tell you what, with that said, let's get on out of here, and we'll save everything else for minute number 86 tomorrow. So thanks so much for tuning in today, everybody. We're going to be back with Scott and Heather with Pirates of the Caribbean again tomorrow. And until then, this is Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we're here to remind you that Goonies never say die.
Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram @GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at patreon.com/PeleMedia. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/PeleMedia and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/PeleMedia.